All right, let's go live. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool.
All right, how did you do that? Okay, how come you didn't give me a hint before we started?
I know I got to keep you on your toes. For those listening, I just did I don't know if you've been shocked or surprised in a Zoom meeting by the reactions that are now in Facebook, or not Facebook, in built into Mac, into the Mac camera. So if you if you do peace sign long enough, or I guess it's a thumbs up. Peace sign is like balloon, thumbs up, a little thumbs up will poke up. If you do 2 thumbs up, you get fireworks, all that kind of stuff. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I turn them off most of the time, but thought I'd shake it up a little bit on this.
That's with the new update to
yeah, that's why you had to have a 3-hour download to update your computer so you could get reactions.
Let's check that out.
It should be, if you're on your computer, it should be in the little camera above, the little green camera that's off to the right of your camera light.
Mm-hmm.
Up in the, whatever that's called up there at the top.
Is this with
Oh, it's got to be with your computer camera, not another camera if you're using a different camera.
So it doesn't integrate with eyeglasses?
Nope. I don't think so. It didn't at first, and I haven't checked again to see if they patched that and figured out what that is.
Okay.
I do need to go check that because I missed my Zoom. But anyway, now that we're done with Technical Talk Tuesday, what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to wrap up our third part of breakthrough advertising.
And that was our arbitrary splitting. There was there's not actually a part 3. I don't know.
No, but we just invented part 3.
Yeah, episode 3, part 3. It's all the same.
You're going to be sharing some stuff. I kind of focused a lot on the chapter on concentration, which is really good about if you're trying to kind of separate yourself from your competition.
Yep.
In your copy, there's a way that you go about doing that without denigrating, but then also it's all about accentuating what you have to offer, but at the same time making your audience aware that they're not going to fulfill that need elsewhere. So
yeah, and I'll talk about a little bit about the section where he talks about how your copy must expand or alter one or more of 3 dimensions of his mental world. So we'll talk about what those 3 dimensions are, and how they're different, that you have to weave into your copy. And then we'll also talk about
Girl Scout cookies.
Girl Scout cookies. It is Girl
Thanks
Scout
again
cookies.
For letting me know you're eating on the show.
I told you I wanted to talk about Girl Scout cookies. Why else would I want to talk about them?
Well, it's too late for me to go get any food. I've got Slim Jims and chips in my office.
So I've got Thin Mints here. If you look closely, there's a little condensation from being in the freezer.
Oh man, that's so good. That is so good.
So here's the deal. I went out and met a friend last night at a brewery, 8:00 at night, and there were Girl Scout cookies out in front of the brewery selling cookies, which I think is a brilliant location.
That's a great place to be, right?
I'd be in front of a weed dispensary. That would be the best place you could be. But a brewery's pretty good. But I did not buy anything, and I was a little disappointed with the salespersonship of. See how I slipped that in there correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Salespersonship.
There you go. Good for you.
Of the Girl Scouts. I just, they never got my attention. So we'll talk about that. So I actually used ChatGPT to come up with some better ways to ask the customer for the sale if you're a Girl Scout. So pass this along to your daughters or whoever else you can
Now, what time? What time in the evening was this? When they
8
were
o'clock.
okay, 8 o'clock.
I don't know
Yeah.
how long they stayed because
I should have stayed till
Closing time.
close to midnight. That's when
Yeah.
people are.
so that brewery closed at 10, so they could have stayed probably a little bit longer. So,
Yeah.
oh, look at this. We have a longtime fan stopping by.
Let me guess.
Old
One of your
CJ
biggest fans,
Cool.
Sean.
Yes.
Your biggest fan ever.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So we're going to be talking about breakthrough advertising. Also, I've got a little thing on just to highlight because we got the Super Bowl coming up next week. And I was reading that there's going to be a big emphasis, which I don't know how this is different from other Super Bowl ads, ad Sundays, but there's going to be a big emphasis on nostalgia, nostalgia and celebrities going back. So
That's shocking. So fresh and original.
I mean, I think we've been talking about nostalgia for a while now. So,
Yeah.
But it is effective. It is very effective.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So-
so are celebrities. So,
Yep.
like it or not, that's just
That's right.
that's how it works.
That's what keeps us tuned in.
All right. Yeah. So, and then we'll also talk about chili. So,
For some apparent reason.
yeah, I don't know the story behind it. Jonathan's going to talk about chili and
I'm going to share my first ever experience with Skyline Chili, which it's unique. If you're from Ohio, then you probably know all about Skyline Chili, but it originated in Cincinnati. I've heard about it for years, but have just it's one of those things where you just you think about it and you're like, oh, that's interesting. But what's so unique about it? So I was up in Cincinnati last week, and I had my first experience with Skyline Chili, and I'm going to tell you all about that. They're unique, very unique, Sean. It's not what you would think of when it comes to chili. And that may be a good thing.
Excuse me while I finish my cookie.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. So what are you having to? We have switched it up a little bit today. Back to the bourbons. So what are you having over there?
So on today's episode, I would like to present. This is a Soldier Valley bourbon whiskey.
Okay.
And this is I'm going to share the screen here. Soldier Valley Spirits. They're actually out of Nebraska, it looks like, which is a kind of an odd location for a bourbon company.
Like it.
Soldier Valley Spirits, but they are a veteran-owned company. So I was picking up a bottle this week and saw this looked interesting. It's kind of in the shape of a if you didn't notice, the bottle's kind of cool. It's in the shape of a canteen.
Oh, cool! I didn't realize that.
It's like a
yeah,
glass
I see it.
canteen. Yep. So this one is their bourbon. They've got several tastes to choose from. They got their Lee Greenwood signature bourbon whiskey. I'm having I'm just having their regular. Cool. They've got a Omaha Beach bourbon. Wonder what that's.
What is that one down below? Whoa! Caramel apple whiskey. Now
Oof.
that sounds good.
Yeah, these all look pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm just having the.
Did you get these at Total Wine?
No, this was at Topside Wine and Spirits. But I'm just having I am having the Lee Greenwood signature bourbon whiskey.
Oh, you went for the good stuff.
Yeah. So he partnered with America's Patriots, Lee Greenwood. Everybody, most people know who Lee Greenwood is.
Proud to be an American,
That's right.
Or at least.
This is actually an award winner back in 2020. So it'll be interested to see. It's 45% ABV, 90 proof. So I have already poured
I
myself.
won't forget the man who died. Okay, sorry.
Did you? So
earworm for everybody.
They used to play that when I was in basic training back in the day in boot camp, just to get us motivated, you know?
Get you ready for
And it worked.
Before it was Afghanistan, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Or not rack back then.
Yep.
All right. So what I've got is a little pre-mixed cocktail that you sent me.
Yeah.
High West Distillery.
Okay.
Let me throw them up on the old screen. So this is, like I said, it's a pre-mixed Manhattan barrel finished cocktail. And I was just curious, seems like there's a lot more of these pre-mixed stuff. So I did a quick little bit of searching, and this is one of the fastest growing retail sectors there is. So
the mixed cocktails,
RTD cocktails is what they call it, ready to drink, right?
Yep.
56% increase in volume from 2020 to 2021. Some of that could have had to do with the pandemic. People at home,
yep,
not drinking at bars, but it's continued to rise. And it's a huge market. It's over 2 billion now. I think is the last thing I saw that was more recent. So it's a $2 billion industry. And what's funny is I read a report, and the report said, this was funny to me. The report said 98% of people who buy them said they bought them for convenience, but only 88% said because they liked the flavor. So people are picking convenience over the flavor.
Just because they don't want to mix? I mean, it's not that hard.
I know, but
it's like 3 ingredients in there.
You gotta have the little cups, and of course you can just splash it. Like, you're probably more of a splash guy, not a measure guy.
Yeah, that's right. I just splash some bitters and some of the syrup, and then occasionally I don't always put the orange peel in there, but occasionally if there's an orange available, I'll waste an orange for the sake of
for the garnish. Yeah, I didn't have an orange, so that's what we're having. Nothing exciting, but it's pretty good. So cheers it up, and then we'll move on.
There we go. I'm excited about this. I don't know how this is going to taste, but I am having a little Natty Champion out of my Natty Champion glass.
Smoky?
Wasn't ready for that one. That's 90 proof, all right. I'm used to having a little ice in mine. I think that's the problem. I think Rachel thinks I'm a wimp because I put ice.
Yeah,
and I like ice. It kind of, I don't know. As the ice melts, it just gives it it dilutes in there.
Stuff like having a little bit of water releases some of the flavors for sure. But I'm more of a neat guy unless I'm doing like the cocktail. I've got the craft ice in there, the one big cube.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
But I'm more of a neat guy. So, all right, I'm going to give this a solid 3.75.
Okay.
It's good, but I'd rather have just straight, probably just have a straight bourbon. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe drinking it with a Thin Mint is probably not a good idea.
I'm sure that threw it off a little.
I had to throw it off a little bit.
Like a minty flavor with a little with the old fashioned. I don't know.
That probably threw it off a little bit.
It's not a fair rating.
Yep.
I'm going to give this one for a bourbon. I think it's really good. It's like I said, I don't have my ice cubes in, but or my ice cube in, my big round ball of ice, but I'll give this one a 4. I'll get it a 4.6.
Nice.
4.6.
I have to go check that out.
Yeah. Plus it's a veteran owned company, so I'm gonna have to check it out, support them.
All right.
Like you said, Sean, that caramel apple or whatever.
That looks
sounds
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go check that out. All right, for those people that have been hitting the skip button and looking for the 30 seconds where we're actually talking about stuff that you want to hear, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the rest of you. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Thanks to the long-suffering people.
Now we'll talk about chili and
Girl Scout cookies. But there are marketing lessons in the
absolutely
in these. So yeah, let's talk about the Girl Scout You want to do the book first? Do you want to do the? How do you want to do it, Jonathan? We're going to ask our viewers. I mean, unless the one viewer watching wants to comment.
Oh, we were at 3. We were at 4 actually earlier. Yeah, well, I want to let's just get into the book, and then we can pull some. We can kind of go back and forth. Maybe pull. Kind of relate some things from the book in with.
No, that's too complicated. I did not think that through. So. All right. Well, I'll start. So I'm going to look at chapter 6.
Okay.
So it says, inside your prospect's mind, what makes people read, want, and believe, right? So we've, up to this point in the book, he's talked about headlines, he's talked about market research, stages of market, stages of sophistication of the market, all kinds of things. So now you've got your headline, you got their attention, now the body copy begins. And that's where we're kind of transitioning into this part of the book. And one of the things he says here, he says, from that moment on, after your headline, your body copy does the selling. It does this by altering your prospect's vision of reality. I like that. It creates a new world for your prospect, a world in which your product emerges as the fulfillment of the dominant desire that caused this man to respond to your headline or woman. It says, to create this world, your copy must expand or alter one or more of the 3 dimensions of his already existing mental world. So, what is his mental world made up of? Those are the 3 things. So number 1 is desire for the product. They got to know how. So the desire is the way he's describing them. This is not just like a general desire that you want something. The way he talks about desires in the book is that these are physical, material, sensual. So stuff you desire can be heard, felt, touched, smelled, things like that. So that's the way he's using the word desire.
Yeah.
So he'll say, like they're physical, such as the desire to be thin or strong or healthy or free from acne, corns, bad breath, or what have you. They are material desires, such as the desire to possess money or a big car or a beautiful dress. They are sensual, such a thirst for the cold glass of beer, the need for a tired body to stretch out on a soft bed. He said you cannot create them, diminish them, or battle them, but you can expand them, sharpen them, channel them, and give them a goal, which is your product. So the first thing you have to do in your copy, or not the first, but one of the 3 things that you have to do in your copy is you have to channel those desires of the things they want and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then he moves into a different thing. It's called identifications. And I think this is one a lot of people miss, Jonathan, and we've talked about this on other episodes with even some of our guests and things like that, but I think it's still missed a lot. Identifications is the roles your prospect wants to play in life. So this is, so for instance, let's say a golfer, they may have a desire to play better golf, but they also want to be seen as a scratch golfer. So they want to identify as a scratch golfer, right? And that's slightly different, right? The desire to play scratch golf and the desire to be known as a scratch golfer, it's a little bit different. The identity is a little stronger. If you can get them to embody that, like, ooh, if I get this club, I could call like when people ask me what my handicap is.
What my handicap is, I can tell.
They can now picture themselves as someone who says, scratch golf, right?
Right.
So that kind of stuff, or I was talking to a potential coaching client last night, and she's had this idea in her head for a book. And I was like, why do you want that? She's like, I just want to be a writer. And she wants to be known as a writer.
Sure.
She's having trouble sitting down writing. and I feel the same way. Like
the idea
of being like a published author is just so cool, right? There's a whole identity there. Yeah. And there's markets and there's products and courses and gurus that sell to that identity. People who want to be an author but aren't yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very strong part of your copy, and you have to weave it in with the desires. And then the final thing, and we're not, you can go as deep as you want on this stuff, but the final thing is beliefs. And these are the opinions, attitudes, prejudice, fragments of knowledge, and conceptions of reality that your prospect lives by. The way he accepts or rejects facts, the ideas and values which give him comfort and which he believes are permanent and true. So these are things that they live and die by, right?
Yeah.
So what you have to do, like, you can't just go in there and just try to change it, right? So you have to start with kind of where they are. Logic change that's like, well, if this is true and this is true, then this is the next step.
Right. Follow their line of thinking.
Right. And it's got to be their logic, not yours.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you have to. Clayton Makepeace was world class at this when he wrote in the financial and health markets, especially the financial. He really knew those beliefs and what got those people angry, that, the ideal subscriber. And he was able to really meet them where they were. And then he could just add on these little facts and they would just kind of follow him because he had already established 4, 5, 6 beliefs before he started dropping in new ones.
Right. Yeah.
And they're like, well, if this guy agrees with all this stuff
and
now he's saying this, that must be true too. Right.
Yeah.
Because he thinks like us. Right.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where you want him. This goes back, Jonathan, I think, to like the movie Inception, right? It's where you're trying to plant an idea in their head, but they need to think of it as their own idea.
That's right.
They need to believe it's their idea. So you're working with what they had. If you go back and watch that movie as a marketing movie, like they were working with what the guy had, and they had to go into his mind to see what his like core beliefs were and his core childhood memories and all this stuff. And then they dropped their suggestion into it, which is, wanting the combination, giving the combination to the team. So yeah, that's basically what you're trying to do in marketing.
Yeah.
So if you need
I mean, it's you're fighting an uphill battle if you're trying to work against their belief system.
Yeah.
You've got to know their belief system and you've got to work within that framework, or you're
ingrained.
Just you're fighting to lose them.
And if too early you slip up and say something that's counter to what they believe,
right,
the whole thing's dead. You just
it's dead. They'll stop. Yeah, absolutely. You completely lost them. It's like going back to the golf analogy. There's certain golfers at a certain level that if you slip up and if you start talking to the novice golfer in the same way that you talk to the advanced golfer, in the process of writing copy or sales, then you're going to lose because they're not on the same level, right?
Yeah, and the reverse is true too. If I tell a scratch golfer I can take 20 strokes off the game,
yeah,
they're not going to believe you, right? Because they know,
right? Because there's
it's a lot more.
They've done exactly, right? Exactly. There's not much. There's not many strokes left. If they're a scratch golfer, there's not many strokes left.
Right. So if I'm shooting 120,
yeah,
maybe there's a little hack or a couple things I could do different that I can get down to 100. Like that. That's much more believable, and that worldview,
right?
Is there. Now, if that person played golf for 30 years and was always hitting 120 and had tried programs and had tried clubs and still couldn't get there, then they're not going to believe that. Because their belief system is now golf is hard. Regular amateur cannot get below 100.
Right.
You got to play 6 times a week to get to, to be that good.
Yeah.
Right. They have this whole worldview that they've created around the fact that they can't play golf.
Right.
Because it's not their fault.
No.
it's
never their fault.
The course is tough.
Yeah.
You drive, like whatever,
Yeah.
And, the municipal courses, they rush you, like whatever.
Yeah.
They've got their own worldview. So you really have to understand where they're at and play into those beliefs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's chapter 6. And then we're going to jump about 5 chapters.
Yep.
And Jonathan, you wanted to talk about chapter 12, concentration.
Yeah, concentration. So this gets into the subheadline is it talks about how to destroy the alternate ways for your prospect to satisfy their desire. So this doesn't necessarily mean it's not just an alternate product. You know, it's not like your competition's that's selling the same thing. This is an alternate path, right? So, you know, a person that, there's a number of ways to lose weight, right? So if I'm selling some revolutionary weight loss drug, my job as a marketer is to destroy all the other avenues of getting them to where they need to be. And that's
Dan
weight loss surgery.
On this. He says, what's he say? You have to make sure that they'll choose you over anyone else and no one else, or something like that.
That's right.
Or including doing nothing at all.
Why would, exactly. It's why would I do business with you over anyone else, including the option of nothing at all, or something to that effect.
Yeah. So I think that's the other one. So going back to the golf analogy, tell me if this is right. If I'm trying to sell you a driver, I'm not just competing against other drivers.
Right.
I'm also competing against lessons for maybe my current driver, or maybe maybe there's a skill trinket, tool that helps me use my current driver better.
Another tool, another tool out of 1,000 out there or
maybe it's a different golf ball.
Right. Yeah.
It's not your driver, it's your golf ball.
Yeah. You need a tighter wound golf ball with the latest technology that's going to give you another 20 yards distance.
So if you were in the supplement space, right, you're not only going against other supplements, you're going against doctors, you're going against fasting, you're going against like all kinds of stuff. So it's not. I think it's important to say that it's not just your direct competitors that make sense, right?
Right.
And then of course there's always the option to do nothing at all, which a lot of people do.
And that's that's competition too that you've got to fight against, because doing nothing at all is also your it's a competitor, because they need to know how uncomfortable it will be or continue to be if you don't do anything, if you leave it, so, going back to the golf example, you see, if some of the best marketers, or some of the some of the videos that you see, or promotions that you see in the world of golf improvement, to your point, Sean, they say, I can always picture the video that says, no, you don't need another golf club, or you don't need a special tool, and these are the guys that are selling the info marketing, the information marketing on lessons. And there's always this one little thing that you're doing wrong that will, it's not complicated. There's always one little thing that you just don't know about. It doesn't require lessons. It doesn't require you to change your whole approach. It's just one little thing,
right?
And you don't need a ton of clubs. You don't need to get new clubs, and you don't need any special tools that people out there are trying to sell you. Those people out there in the industry. Yep. So I see some really good advertising that you use this approach of concentration, focusing you on the one thing that you need. And also at the same time, they do a wonderful job of saying, you don't need this. You don't need this. You've been told it, but you don't need this. And usually they say, if it's a good video that's done right, they say people, they show you a bag of tool, all of these golf improvement tools that you've bought over the years that are just sitting in the garage collecting dust, and
big old cardboard box in the garage full of this stuff. Yep.
So they do a good job of picturing that, or showcasing all the wasted money. And
especially if it's an infomercial, because that part will be black and white.
Yeah, exactly.
Be in his dusty, dirty garage, and he's all frustrated. Then the music will change; it'll go full color.
Right.
And he's out drinking a beer with his buddies. Of course.
Here's an example they talk about in this chapter. One that you bring up that is a little more unpleasant, but shrink hemorrhoids without surgery, right? I mean, like that headline captivates the whole essence of what this is talking about. It's like, you don't need surgery. right? And you could apply this to just about any, medical condition. Do this without surgery. Everybody fears surgery. No one wants to go under the knife. It's like that scares the hell out of people. So what you want to do is that's a great way without having to think about this or without this. I mean, you could substitute without surgery for, without, drugs that, nowadays, just like, you want to avoid all these drugs that if you can, so do this naturally without, drugs that can screw you up or whatever.
Yeah. That could be a time frame, without waiting days for relief.
Yep.
Could be another thing you could say there. So yeah, it could be all kinds of things.
Right. So the key is always to, like I said, don't think of concentration in the sense of just the competitive same thing that you're offering. Think of it in terms of any other choice that your competition may, or that your customer may be able to, or your prospect may be able to choose over going this route. So
yeah, and if you haven't figured that out, what those things are, you're missing a huge opportunity in the
exactly.
and you're deluding yourself.
Right.
If you think they're just choosing other people's product that are similar to yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's probably the easiest thing to do is, come up with a way to differentiate your product from other people. I mean, just a good label design can do that.
Absolutely.
Branding, but if you really want to capture market, you got to get into all the, so let's say on any given product, 3% buy a product, 1 to 3%. That means 97% of your prospects are doing something other than buying a similar product, right?
Right.
They're either not doing anything at all, they're choosing a different method, something. So there's a lot of room for market share if you do a really good job of leading and making sure they understand why yours is the best option.
Yeah, definitely. I got to drop in this Skyline chili now.
Okay.
It just as a way to kind of pattern interruption here. There might be some tie-in.
Are you gonna
fart? So I had my first taste of Skyline chili last week up in Cincinnati, Ohio. Didn't have a clue as to what this was. This is a great example of.
Yeah, I've never heard of Skyline chili.
Never heard of it, really.
Never even heard.
Do you know they're the primary sponsor of the Cincinnati Bengals now? They're like the.
Never heard of it.
Gosh, Sean. Well, you would be insulted if you had this. Being from Texas, do you eat any Texas chili?
Yeah, although I gotta admit, I'm not like full grown, born and raised Texan, so I'm okay with beans in my chili.
You've adopted, yeah, right.
Like in Texas,
what is your traditional go-to chili?
I think we buy Wolf Chili. It's a brand.
Okay, but I mean, how have you always had it with the beef, the beans, what else goes in there for
sauce, you? Whatever, like maybe a little bit of peppers and things like that. Pretty basic stuff. I mean, this is a better question for my wife than me, but So that's basically it. Maybe throw some crackers with it when you serve it. Maybe spread a little cheese, maybe some sour cream on it, depending on the day and the temperature.
Well, let me describe for you what Skyline chili is. It's nothing that you have ever considered what you would consider chili.
It's a bait and switch, is what you're saying.
It says instead of the what you would normally consider chili, if you're from Texas or even from, like, we're from Georgia, we kind of know what chili looks like, even down south. You don't have to be from Texas to understand that. Yeah. Cincinnati chili is different. It's they put chili sauce over spaghetti or hot dogs. Now, hot dogs we understand. I mean, everybody's had a chili dog.
Yeah.
But they put it over spaghetti, like the traditional standalone chili that they do, the Skyline way. is chili over a bed of spaghetti. Picture that. Just spaghetti noodles, right? And they're not even, I mean, quite honestly, they're not like, it's not like anything fancy, It's just thrown on like a paper plate or whatever. And so the chili is also very distinct. Instead of traditional, the way we would think of it, maybe, with like putting peppers and, we want to spice it up a little, right? Make it a little, sometimes hot. I'll throw in a little hot sauce every now and then.
Okay.
They like it sweet. And so what they do is they put cinnamon and sometimes like nutmeg in the chili.
Okay.
In addition to onions. Okay. So they like to, throw in some spices. This originated from the founder, who was Greek. I didn't realize this. I started looking at the origin of Skyline Chili. It was the founder he immigrated over from Greece, added a lot of his, his own, I guess what he thought was the right way of doing chili. Cinnamon, you sweeten it up, but you also throw in some onions.
This one has chocolate that I'm showing on the screen right now.
There's chocolate. There's an option for chocolate as well. Yes.
Secret ingredient in the recipe. Worcestershire sauce. So there's the picture.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, in Knoxville, we have Petros, right, where we put chili on top of Fritos.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's the Petros. I love Petros too.
Yeah,
so
Petros is great. I wish we had one here.
But and on top of that, after they put the chili on the bed of spaghetti, the topping, the last thing to go on, they just almost cover it completely up with shredded cheese.
Yeah.
Right?
So check.
Can't even
out.
see it.
Yeah. So here's the pictures of
right.
Like they all are just covered.
I mean, I couldn't even see. I couldn't even see my chili last week when I was up there.
That's awesome.
It was interesting.
Like I'm good with cheese. Like I love cheese. So like
I do too.
Is this the one you got?
Yeah, that's it. I had the 4. It's the number 4 or whatever. The I think they call it the 3-way or the 4-way. I think it was the 4-way, which is the way of doing beans and onions in there. Okay. So,
wow. Who knew?
So very unique. So kind of along the lines, okay, how am I tying this into Breakthrough? Okay, so it's a concentration. Like this is a unique chili. Competition out there does it differently. Mm-hmm. We're not, we're doing, we've got this unique way of chili, and it's, I mean, everybody that lives that's a local in that Cincinnati or Ohio, I mean, they just rave about it. Yeah. To me, it was okay, but it's amazing how a brand like this has achieved such recognition around that area. I mean, you haven't heard of it. You've never had it. I've never had it.
Yeah.
But it's the thing to do.
A little good marketing here and there.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's almost more like it's like this to me. The way it's looking is the chili is just like one piece, and then that whole dish should be called something else, like like it's almost like calling spaghetti, which I guess spaghetti is technically the noodle, but
right,
typically you have spaghetti with meat sauce or whatever.
Yep.
So this is almost like just the meat sauces, and you happen to be putting it over spaghetti. But I guess Skyline Chili is all 3 of those pieces plus however you want to season it.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And you got the coney, the coney dog that comes. You can get a coney dog with it, which I did. Okay. And what's cool about it, they have a really cool, like if you're new, it's that the first time ever you've had Skyline Chili, mm-hmm. They give you like the welcome. Like if they know that this is your first time ever,
yeah.
Which I mentioned it to the waitress. And by the way, if you go inside of a Skyline, it's not like a fast food place. You actually sit down and you order, and they bring it to you. Right? You sit down at the table and they bring it to you. If they know it's your first time, what they do is they come up and they bring you a welcome aboard packet. So like a bag of, because part of the thing that goes into your your chili is they give you those little bags of the oyster crackers, the oyster soup crackers.
Okay.
So they give you a welcome bag with the soup crackers.
Well, where are you supposed to put those if it's over the top of pasta?
I don't know. I think you just eat them alongside of it.
See,
I guess.
This is why Ohio State can't win a national championship. They have no idea what they're doing.
They don't know. I was like, man, this is the oddest thing that I've ever. But I mean, I appreciate it, but it's the oddest thing I've ever seen. It's like, wow,
that's weird. Well, now I know I have to order that. Just give me shrimp and grits. Let's go to Charleston and get some shrimp and grits.
There you go. There you go.
By the way, I had an idea today. I was going to post this on Facebook and I forgot, so I'll just use it as content for the show here.
All right.
So we went to a birthday party last week. There was a piñata, there was candy, and there was a whole bunch of like fun size candy, the Halloween size candy.
Right.
We brought some home, and I was eating some of it today, and it occurred to me it was the fun size Twix bars. So they're like,
oh yeah,
like less than the size of your thumb. They're like tiny. And so I'm opening this. So I picked 4 of them because I'm like, well, that's not even like half a regular Twix bar, So I'm opening these up, and I realized that fun size candy is the equivalent of peeling shrimp. Like, it's a lot of hassle for what you get, but you can't stop doing it.
Yeah.
Because you just want to keep eating.
Right.
So that's my weird metaphor for the day, or not metaphor, but comparison. Fun size candy is like eating, boiled shrimp where you have to peel it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. It is kind of annoying.
Yeah. But it's so good. Like, it's good enough that you're going to keep dealing with the annoying of having to open the wrapper, peel the shrimp.
Yep.
It's like, oh, that's so good. And then you're like, oh, crap, I got to peel another one. Or got to open another one.
Yeah, like those tiny little mini Reese's, right? I mean,
or the worst are like the Three Musketeers. Like, there's like nothing in those.
Yeah.
Half air anyway. All right. So what was the next? Did you finish that chapter? Or you want to go one more?
Yeah, that's that chapter on concentration, and then lastly is
this was just for our Southern and hunter type
conviction
crowds, right?
Yeah. Right.
Northeast. Well, I guess there's a lot of hunters all over the country. Sorry.
That's right. Yep.
A lot of hunters up north.
Oh, absolutely.
Because this is about camouflage.
Camouflage. How
Why
to
would I want to camouflage something?
I don't know about the camouflage. Well, how we? I don't know how we would tie that, but borrowing conviction for your copy. So what is conviction? It's basically delivering the proof within your copy. Do I have that right? Mm-hmm. Giving them proof.
Borrowing believability from all the places in our society where it is stored up.
Yeah.
So I call this third-party proof, where I use other people's words to sell my products.
Yeah.
Or a I think this is where celebrity is used, right? Where you have a celebrity spokesperson.
Yeah.
You've got Magnum
Social
PI
proof.
selling to the boomers.
Yeah.
Selling reverse mortgages to the boomers.
Yeah. You see all these old guys that even, Joe Namath nowadays, it's kind of funny seeing him selling hearing aids on television, but that's what he does now. He's selling hearing aids.
Gets a nice chunk of that business too.
Of course. Yeah. But it works. It works time and time again.
It's nostalgia we talked about a little bit earlier. Right. It's like, oh, this guy was like, this was a hero for a lot of men in that age bracket. Like Joe Namath.
And why would you borrow somebody that old? Because obviously it makes sense you're not going to believe, there's no believability in a younger celebrity that's endorsing hearing aids.
Yeah. Kim Kardashian endorsing hearing aids, probably not. I don't know. It might work actually now that I think about it. They still got eyes at that age, right?
Yep.
So who knows? But yeah.
So how do you use believability in your copy? When you can use, you're utilizing this in your copy, and using what other people say. So you can borrow that, as you mentioned, from celebrities, but they don't have to be they don't have to be the top high, the top of the chain celebrities. They can be, local celebrities, people that they can be industry celebrities, I guess, like people that are not necessarily known throughout the world, but maybe they're known in a specific industry. They're known in a specific area of expertise.
Right. And then another way he talks about like why he calls this camouflage. Let's say I'm a conservative. I'm an old conservative Republican guy, right?
Yep.
Not a stretch, but hey, however, this is not me because I don't listen to talk radio or any of that kind of stuff. Like, it doesn't do anything for me. But let's say someone who listens to, what's his name? Ben, whatever,
Shapiro.
Right?
Yep.
The very fact that you run an ad on Ben Shapiro's show automatically carries with it the kind of the belief and the credibility of Ben Shapiro himself, right?
Yep.
So if your audience likes Ben Shapiro and his guests and things like that, then having an ad show up, you get that halo effect. It's kind of like Dave Ramsey when he, if you advertise that you're a Dave Ramsey certified real estate agent or whatever, financial advisor or whatever.
Right.
You get that kind of halo effect, I think is what we call it today. But that's a way to camouflage. Like you're not saying, hey, because some ads do, because you like Ben Shapiro, you'll like our product. No, it's camouflage. It's just like, oh, this network approved this ad, so they must agree with what the ad is talking about. Right. That's kind of the implication. And sometimes that's actually true where they do endorse it, but other times it's more just kind of a unspoken, we're not going to say we're not in favor of this. We'll just let you come to your own conclusions. So that's one of the ways you camouflage is that the media, it's like there's certain social platforms which have more credibility with certain crowds than other platforms, right? Like some platforms lead more conservative, some lean more liberal,
right?
Some more libertarian. Like I don't know, probably Reddit and Discord would lead more if you were really trying to classify people, be a little bit more libertarian.
For sure.
Different things. But so where you put your publication or your ad matters, and you can camouflage it and get all the credibility of that media source.
Yeah.
Or some of it. For your ad.
Yeah. Here's an old school example. And I wonder if this would still work today without really, I don't know. I'll just read it and we can talk about how if this would actually work today.
Okay.
And regardless of what industry or what product, it says, and I'm looking at 191 where he says skin specialist demonstrates. That's at the very top. So skin specialist demonstrates how to rinse away your blackheads. And this is more like an advertorial, it looks like. So this is a leading doctor today, not naming any names. A leading doctor today showed an audience of men, women, and skin troubled teenagers how to clean oily skin and shrink enlarged pores with a 10-minute home medical treatment he has perfected. So I don't know, would something like that work today without, it's pretty vague. You don't know who the doctor is, who the leading doctor is.
Well, it probably comes later in the copy, I would guess. At some point they're going to reveal.
Maybe, maybe not.
I definitely think it would work because I think this is all that Dr. Oz was when he was on.
Yeah.
That was just this guy's show it's basically like a blogger selling affiliate link. Like affiliate stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because every product that came on Oz was probably sponsored by that, or every remedy that came on, somebody was paying for that, or it was just an easy topic. I don't know. I don't know how long this ad was.
I think it would be effective.
I think it would. I think advertorials still work, and I know companies that still use them, but it's it's not in a traditional print format. It's more in a blog or You know, it
Yeah.
looks like it's a squeeze page between, or I think it's called a bridge page, you know, between
Yeah.
the ad and the actual website. There'll be like an article. It'll be a page that looks like an article,
Yeah.
you know, and it feels more like third party. So like, I think what this is because it looks like an article and it's written by someone else, not the person selling, it feels more legitimate, right? It feels like it's being reported instead of sold.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Our buddy Dave Dutton used to, I don't think he's used one in a while, but he used to do the advertorials in a lot of your local, local page, local papers, which I guess are still a thing.
Well,
local papers, are they still around?
Newspapers aren't, but like Sky Mall magazine always has a couple really good advertorial based products.
Yeah.
So when you're flying, you get the magazine.
Yeah.
Like there's one, it's like a dating service, Just Lunch or something like that. They have some of the best advertorial style. They look like magazine articles.
Yeah.
They just blend right in,
I still think this would be in, like, I see like trade publications in my industry. I don't know why these aren't used. They would be super effective, but
let's just look at this. Let's say I was a dermatologist, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I did a TikTok on how to rinse away your blackheads, people are going to watch that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And if I say, hey, or let's say it wasn't even the doctor. Let's just say it was a quote, just random person, right? So user generated content.
Right.
So somebody, in this case, it says by Claire Hoffman. So there's some girl out there named Claire. She's like, hey, I'm going to show you in 10 minutes how you can rinse away blackheads. This was a little trick discovered by a doctor, blah, 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 right? So you can see how you can convert it to today's content on TikTok with just a little editing.
Yeah.
I mean, how-to headlines never go out of style.
No.
I remember Bob Bly saying in his book, Copywriter's Handbook, like, when in doubt, use a how-to headline.
Use a how-to, right?
But you could very much, I think today's advertorials are the same as like content, like a 3-minute reel, things like that.
Yep.
So you can
you can
substitute it as content.
Take this ad, like you said, skin specialist demonstrate. You could put in, leading golf pro demonstrates. And then,
and how about, because we're in a video world, like you could actually demonstrate, like in print, you had no way to get video out to people back when this book was written.
Yeah.
Except very expensive TV advertising.
Right.
So now, like, you can literally take some of these ideas, and that's actually a whole section he talks about in here is demonstration, which I always use the example of diapers and paper towels. Like, it's a demonstration right on TV. They wipe up the blue goo. One wipes up better than the other. You're sold.
Yeah.
If you could find a way to do that for your product, like it's pretty amazing. Like Rocket Money. Have you seen like the Rocket Money ads on social media?
No.
You know what Rocket Money is? So Rocket Money is an app that you install, and it will, once you hook your accounts to it, it'll tell you all your subscriptions that you've got. It'll alert you to any duplicates, and if you want to cancel, you just press a button, and it'll cancel them for you. You don't have to get on the phone with customer service or anything. So it's a really cool app. But they do these like man on the street type interviews where they'll go up to somebody and say, hey, how many subscriptions do you have? They're like, I've got like 4 subscriptions. I think this, and this. They're like, hey, install this app. And they're like, oh my God, I've got 27 subscriptions. I'm on Netflix 3 times. But
that's amazing. Yeah,
it's a disguised. I mean, that's what this chapter is about. It's like, how do you take the media where you want to advertise, and make it look like the content around? That's really what this whole chapter is about. Is like, how do you make it look exactly like the content that's around it?
Right.
Because then there's less sales resistance.
Yeah. And it's like you said, Sean, it's easier than ever today with TikTok and Instagram to create videos like that.
Especially demonstration videos, because it was really hard to demonstrate in print,
Mhm.
a lot of products, right? Now
Right.
with video, you can demonstrate anything that you would demonstrate in a store, in
Yep.
person,
Yep.
all of it. So you've really got a lot more. I mean, even if something as simple as, let's say your vitamins are easier to swallow than other people's vitamins, like just show somebody
Right.
swallowing the vitamin and not freaking out about it,
Hmm.
little things like that. So there's tons of ways to do that, like the demonstration. But the big part of this chapter, I think, is how do you make it look like the content around you, so that when they scroll, they don't even realize it's an ad. Like the Rocket Money ads get me almost every time,
Yeah.
because it looks like one of those things where they're going to ask them a question and make the person look stupid because they don't know the answer to the question.
Yep.
It looks like one of those type things, and they're really, really, really effective. I mean, I haven't bought Rocket Money yet, but I'm close.
Well, just that what you described there is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, they go in and have somebody install on their phone, and then they're automatically, alerted to the fact that they have like 3 times as many subscriptions as they originally thought.
Yeah.
That's
That's pretty wild.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, because I'm thinking to myself, dang it, I probably have some subscriptions out there that, I'm not aware of.
Yeah. Every year when I do my taxes, there's always a couple. I'm like, what? Like, I go through the bank account. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this $20 charge that keeps showing up every month? Like, I have no idea who like 32618 is. Like,
Right.
it's not even a real name on the bank statement, or
Yeah.
it's so coded because it's one of their LLCs from like 16 years ago
Mm-hmm.
that they're running money through. Not that it's not legit. It's just like it doesn't match the product you bought, right? So you don't know what it is. You have to do some digging and research, and
Right.
then you got to figure out how to cancel it because you don't know who it is. Yeah, so Rocket Money does all that stuff for you. This episode is sponsored by Rocket Money. I wish we should have done that. We keep missing these, man. We gotta.
Of course we do. I mean, it's
up our game.
It's out there. It's out there. Just easy takings. Here's the ad that is in the book. You probably came across this: how to make classic ad, and this one also ran in the Wall Street Journal too.
Mm-hmm.
How to make anybody like you. Okay, that's pretty bold. Can popularity?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Can popularity be purchased? The answer is yes, and the cost is approximately 2 to 3 hours of your time.
Ooh,
that's it.
Afford that. I actually think "Can popularity be purchased" is a better headline. Yeah,
I do too. Yeah, because I love the question.
Like, I think today, like I know what I just said about how-to headlines, but I feel like in this case, it's too unbelievable in our divided culture. Like, obviously this was written. I mean, this ad was running in 1965,
right?
In the Wall Street Journal. Today, people don't believe that anybody will like you. They believe there's us and them, right? There's a lot more us and them than there was then. But I can see people wanting to know the answer to, can popularity be purchased in a social media age? Heck yes, people want to know the answer to that. So I would rerun this ad. In fact, I'm going to, afterward the show's over, I'm just going to go into chat and make a new course for this. Chat GPT. I'll just make a new course and we'll just start selling this.
There you go.
The popularity blueprint.
There you go. I love it.
There you go, people. This is how you make a product in real time, right? Get a little inspiration.
Yeah.
Pop into chat, make a course, make an ad, swipe this ad.
I swiped an idea a couple of weeks ago for a info product. Well, it was kind of a freebie type info product it was industry related.
Okay.
That I swiped and literally downloaded and had AI basically tailor it to my industry because I liked it so much. And it was just a simple report. Completely rewrote it. It was pretty good. I just had to make a few changes. So
cool.
it's amazing.
So that is our exhaustive walk through breakthrough advertising. Hopefully you survived that. Thank you to all those who survived all 3 parts.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. Leave us 5 stars. But yeah, you can get this book at breakthroughadvertisingbook.com. There's 2 different packages. If you are in sales, persuasion, copywriting, marketing, anything like that, this is a must-have book on your bookshelf, and you probably need to read it once a year. Because it's and you need
just
to read it at least
reminder.
You got to read it like 3 times in a row, just the first time you get it, because it's so dense and so thick.
Right.
So yeah, breakthroughadvertisingbook.com. We don't get anything for that. It's just a friend of ours who's been on the show before, Brian Kurtz.
Yeah.
He's got publication rights to it. So grab that. But I want to talk about, Jonathan, I want to shift now to Girl Scout cookies, because it is Girl Scout cookie season.
Yes.
Isn't it crazy that there's a product that has a season like that? I mean, there's not many products that have that. You got Christmas trees, you got turkeys,
So what are the months of the season? Is it starts in
I don't know the exact season, but they definitely have a campaign thing. So, the basic story is I went out with a friend met a friend last night at a brewery. He's got young kids, so we can't meet till 8:00. Once the kids are in bed, then he can sneak out and have a couple hours of beer. It's kind of like you and I used to do at Casual Pint.
Of course.
Brewery, not too far from here. So I'm meeting there, and when I get there at 8 p.m., there are Girl Scouts sitting outside, and they got a picnic table or their fold up table thing out there, cookies spread out, poster board, moms drinking wine on the side while they're waiting for the kids to sell cookies, and like the one girl that I saw that was a Girl Scout, I don't know where the rest of them were. She was like, I walked by, and she's like, "Hi," it's like, I'm like,
yeah.
I'm one of those people, like, I love kids trying to sell, but you got to sell me. Like, you can't just say hi. Like, that's not
enough. Yeah.
And I didn't take the time to like help them. I should have, but I was thinking about that today as I was preparing for our show, and I was like, okay, so if I wanted to give these kids, these Girl Scouts, and if there's Girl Scouts in your life, nieces, daughters, neighbors, like, take some of the stuff I'm about to share with you and like share it with them. Let's spread the sales love.
Yes.
So I got to thinking, Jonathan, it's like, how would I sell Girl Scout cookies if I was tasked with a little Girl Scout troop? And now they said, Sean, we need your help. These girls got to sell 1,000 boxes this weekend.
Right.
We've got a couple locations, but they're just not selling. Like, so Jonathan, let me ask you, what would you? So it's got to be simple, right? Because a 7-year-old girl, 10-year-old girl, it's got to remember what to say. What would you ask them to say to sell more Girl Scout cookies? How would you get? So let's say we're in front of Walmart.
Yeah.
Busy, lots of people coming. They're coming there to get their stuff. They don't, they're already like preparing themselves to say no as they walk from the parking lot because they can see the table.
Yeah.
They know they want the cookie. Everybody wants Girl Scout cookies, right?
Right.
Like almost everybody. If you don't, you're probably a psychopath.
Yeah.
But you got your reasons why you're not going to spend $6 a box, right? It's like, they were 3 2 years ago. I don't know how they got to 6 all of a sudden, but that's where they're at now.
Yep.
So, just being nice and having a thing and saying hi is not enough. Like people are already kind of coming in thinking, I'm not going to buy, 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 right? I'm not going to buy.
Yeah. Right.
I know it's a good cause. I'm not going to buy. But, maybe girls, you were asking about the season. I think it's this time of year. I just had this thought, Jonathan. Maybe Girl Scouts are the reason no one keeps weight loss resolutions. Because right when everybody's at their stretching point, right? You've been trying the workout routine, you've been trying the diet, and along come Girl Scout cookies, man, and they just break you.
They just knock you off, man.
Yeah. So it's Girl Scouts.
They're evil.
It's Girl Scouts' fault. So what would you say? I asked ChatGPT for some ideas, and I had a couple of my own, but I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to give you one You can give one question or one opening line to a Girl Scout troop to sell more cookies in front of Walmart. What is their opening line when they see a stranger walking towards them?
Would you like a cookie?
You think that's
How about that?
okay?
How about a free sample? Have you ever gotten a free sample of
I
a?
have not. That's a great idea.
I've never gotten a free cookie. And I'm going to tell
so
you,
could have a
half of these
platter.
boxes, I don't even know what they taste like because I only go towards
Ooh, okay.
the
I like where you're going.
the Thin Mints. You know,
Right.
I love the Thin Mints.
They're a
right?
known, right? They're comfortable.
Yeah, they're known, but I have
what
no
you're
idea
getting.
what some of these other. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So if I had a platter,
Mm-hmm.
like, so let's say I had a parent that was entrepreneurial. You know, you or
Yeah.
I, we have a daughter. You
Right.
know, you don't have a daughter, but like if we did, we could say, look, I'm going to invest, you know, let's see right now. So I did pull up the current menu. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different types of cookies.
Mm-hmm.
So if I buy 9 boxes, it's 54. 9 times 6 is 36. 54. What is it?
Yep.
54.
54.
$54. Okay. Susie, I'm going to invest $54. We're going to have a platter with one of each cookie on it. There's about, 10 or 13 cookies in a sleeve, so I can pull off this little experiment quite a few times, right?
Yep.
So yeah, so I have a little platter, and I say, "Would you like a cookie?"
Mm-hmm.
And she holds up a tray of cookies.
Yeah. Who's going to say no to that?
Yeah, who's going to say no, right? 'Cause
Hey, would you like a free cookie?
You were expecting a sale. Somebody's
That's
trying
right,
to sell
man.
you, now they're offering you a free cookie,
No.
and you're like,
No, you start with the easy.
yeah. And if you've got a pretty smart Girl Scout,
Mm-hmm.
it's got a little entrepreneur, a little salesperson in her, she could almost even be like, pull the tray back right as they're thinking. It's like, oh, there's a catch.
Yeah.
You have to pick one you've never tried before.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, they could say, "What's your typical go-to?"
Yeah. Which one would what do you usually buy?
Yeah.
Oh, I usually get the Thin Mints.
Yeah.
Why don't you try something new since it's a free
That's right.
sample?
I would say, do you feel like you're an adventurous person? Wait, maybe I wouldn't use that because some people aren't adventurous.
Wrong crowd, Gotta be careful where you park the table for sure.
But yeah,
I like
why
that.
not try
I like
something new? Why not try a different flavor?
I like that.
Try
So
this.
I didn't think of that. I think that's a really good idea. Is the sample?
Yeah.
You could invest in 6 or 1 box of each. That would get you pretty far along.
Yeah.
And we also know reciprocity, right? If I give a sample, you're more likely to buy a box.
Definitely.
And most people are going to buy a couple boxes because here's an upsell idea or a cross sell idea.
Yeah.
So if somebody buys 1 box, let's say it's a couple that comes by, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the woman's like, "Yeah, we will take a box of Thin Mints."
Mm-hmm.
And you would say, "Oh, is that your favorite or is that his favorite?"
Yeah.
Right? Let's say it's a couple. Oh, it's
Absolutely.
my favorite. Well, what's his favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And now you're kind of on the spot. It's like,
Absolutely.
It's like, "Oh, well, I like the peanut butter whatever's,
Mm-hmm.
the peanut butter sandwich."
Yeah.
Oh, we have those. We have a couple boxes left.
Absolutely.
I'll
There
take
you
one
go.
of those too, right? So now I've doubled my sales, right? Now, obviously, teaching this to I don't know the exact range of Girl Scouts, but
Yeah.
it takes a little training and practice. But man, what better way to train a kid for the world than to teach them how to sell Girl Scout cookies, right?
And if they're going in a grocery store, Sean, maybe I ask them, "Hey, were you thinking about going down the cookie aisle?" And if they say, "Well, yeah, probably looking, I don't know, but
Yeah, or how about this?
how about I just save you a trip?"
Yeah, so how about this? This is what I was trying to get chat to come up with, and I'll show you the thread here in a second. I'll share it on the screen. What if you did something? I like the cookie aisle idea. So what if you said something like, "Excuse me, do you know which aisle cookies are on in the grocery store?
Yes.
Like what number they're on?" And they'd be like, "No." It's like, and then they could say, "Well, it doesn't matter because I've got the best ones right here."
There you go.
And just like the cleverness and the cuteness of it, I mean, imagine that coming from a 10-year-old girl. Like, that's very hard to turn down because you're like, all right, that's pretty good. I'll give you. There's a lot of people would buy just because it was creative.
Yeah, for sure.
And they already like
clever,
the cookies.
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff I was looking for. So
Mhm.
At first I was like, all right, what would my opening line be? And the first thing that came to my mind, Jonathan, was, have you seen our current menu of cookies? For the same reason that you said, like, you don't even know what all they have, right? You get your go-to, you don't really question it, right? So I looked up, I put in Google, I was like, Girl Scout cookie menu. And there's people on Etsy selling formatted menu sheets. Let me show you I'll just share the screen here. So for $4, I can print this to PDF. I could go to the UPS store, the FedEx store, whatever.
Wow.
Get a little PDF created with a picture of the cookie and the description on an 8.5 by 11. And imagine if I had this 8.5 by 11 PDF. And again, this requires the parent to maybe invest $10, right? Between the cost of the download and a PDF laminated.
Yep.
But and maybe
I would laminate that. I would have that laminated.
Right.
So
and have like 3 of them for your troop. And as somebody walks up, you literally just hold it out and say, have you seen our new cookies?
Yeah.
Or have you seen our menu of cookies lately?
Right.
Everybody's going to not everybody. A lot of people will grab that just because you stuck it in front of them. Some people will be like, no, I'm not interested, right? But a good portion of people are going to be, just because it's Girl Scouts, they're going to take it, they're going to look at it, and they're like, oh, I didn't even know you had a peanut butter sandwich cookie.
Right.
Oh, yes. Now combine some of the things we were talking about, Jonathan. Oh, yeah, I have a sample of one if you'd like. Oh, because you can even cut these cookies in halves to make the samples go further, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, man, I should start a whole course on how to sell Girl Scout cookies. there's my second course for the week.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's that. Well, then I went into ChatGPT and I was like, okay. I said, Chat, give me 10 opening lines a Girl Scout could use when selling cookies in front of a store. Here's some of the stuff it came up with. Hello, can I interest you in some delicious Girl Scout cookies today? They're perfect for sharing. I hated all of these, right?
Yeah.
So there were some others. They were like too old school, too 1950s. Like, I was like, no. So I was like, more clever and unexpected. Use more NLP and curiosity, right? So it's like, guess what? Our cookies have a secret ingredient: happiness. Want to try? I was like, all right, chat, this is that's creepy. No, we're not doing that. Although if you did it right, like number 2, ever wondered which cookie matches your personality? See, that's just so that's cheesy. That's not clever. That's cheesy.
Right.
There's a difference. So I was like, you're mentioning the cookies too soon. Make it a 2-question prompt where the second is the CTA, the first is engagement. Chat was like, got it. Let's craft some engaging 2-part prompts. I love how positive ChatGPT is. Like, it's always in for the fight, man. It never gets upset. I love that.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So then it's like, have you ever wondered which snack could make your day instantly better? Like, no, that's not it. Do you believe small choices can make a big impact? No, that's not it. What's your secret to happiness on a busy day? Could it be treating yourself and supporting community growth at the same time? I was like, no, these are terrible. These are awful.
Yeah.
This is why people don't think chat can write copy. Right. So then I was like,
they're not great. Yeah.
So then I was like, you know what? I need to get more creative. Like it's not getting it. And I've said on the show before, treat this more like a toy than a tool, and you'll get better results from it.
For sure.
So I was like, okay, how could I play with this a little bit more? What would be really fun? What do you think I came up with?
No idea.
All right. Knock knock jokes. I said, now do 5 knock knock jokes that the call to action would be the punchline. Okay. I'll go ahead and go through. In fact, I'm going to turn off the screen for a second so I can go through them with you, Jonathan.
All right.
So you're walking up. You're expecting me to say something like, buy a cookie. Hey, sir, would you like to buy a cookie? And instead I say, knock, knock. And at
Who's there?
First
Who's
you're
there?
probably just like, What? Like, right? It's a total like pattern interrupt.
Yeah, it throws you off. Pattern interrupt.
And they go knock knock. Well, it's a 10-year-old kid. You can't not play knock knock with a 10-year-old kid, right?
Right.
So you say,
"Who's there?"
Howard.
Howard who?
How would you like to support young entrepreneurs and enjoy some delicious cookies?
Sure.
Like it's dad joke quality, right? Like the
Yeah.
dads are gonna love that,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be like, that's pretty good. I like that one. So knock knock,
Who's there?
Olive.
Olive who?
All of these cookies are supporting great causes. Wouldn't you like
pretty
to try
good.
one?
Yeah. There
Knock,
you go.
knock. All right, so we'll do a couple more. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Donut.
Donut who?
Donut missed out on the chance to help us Girl Scouts by buying some cookies. And
All right, that's
that
pretty
would,
corny, but
really work coming from a
Yeah.
10-year-old.
oh yeah. Exactly. From that age group, for sure.
Yeah. So it came up with Justin, just a time to grab your favorites. Let us help you make your day better.
Right.
Like, so then I didn't go any further than that, but like, and that's something that the girls could remember, like a knock knock joke, right? Some of this other was maybe a little bit more advanced, sales stuff, but a lot of these girls are smart enough and savvy enough that they could definitely pull that off.
Absolutely.
But I mean, Girl Scout cookies are delicious. I think we need to sell more of them in the world. I think it would make the world a happier place. So if we can do our part on this show to give, we should probably edit this part of the video and just put it up as its own little episode.
Oh,
Or
absolutely.
YouTube Shorts or something.
Girl Scout cookies.
Girl Scout cookie sales tips.
Yeah. Yeah, we could help a lot of
Wouldn't that be something? 5 years,
lot of
that's what goes viral.
a lot of young female scouts out there. We could help.
Yeah, we could get 1 million little Girl Scouts following us. That would not be weird at all.
All right, we need to splice this out.
Yeah, we'll do that. So that's all I got. But I thought there's got to be a better way to sell Girl Scout cookies, and just a little brainstorming with my friend ChatGPT, and we came up with some
That's good. I like
cool
that.
ideas.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah, no charge whatsoever. We give out the
can send
free
free
advice.
cookies though.
Yeah, we're not
Just
we're
DM
not
us
ashamed
for
to take some cookie.
DM first.
If you want to send us some cookies to test out, hey, we'll even do a little sponsorship on the show. We'll have some Thin Mints. Sean's giving some free publicity right here with his Thin Mints. He's been cramming his face for the full hour. Good stuff. Thin Mints and all of the other flavors that we're completely unaware of because you don't give us free samples out there. So,
Exactly.
all right. Well, that wraps up today's episode. You can find us at persuasionbythepint.com. You can find us on all of your podcast platforms and check us out. Leave us 5 stars. We'll see you guys next week. This wraps up Breakthrough Advertising. We might be having a guest next week.
Working on it.
Yep. And even without the other, we might have another. Without the other, we might have another. Look at that.
I've got 2 or 3 more lined up for March, so
okay.
we'll get
great.
back into guest season here soon.
Sounds good.
Just us drag on.
Yeah, talk about Breakthrough Advertising, Girl Scout cookies, and Skyline
I really
chili.
think Girl Scout cookies is some of our best work. So we need to
I think so
splice that
too.
out.
We'll splice it out and use it. Help them. How can we help them help you? Right?
Yep.
Help them help you and help us.
I may just do a series of the knock knock jokes and put that out on TikTok right now.
Perfect. I
Like,
think that
go
would be
viral.
great.
I'll be the
That's right.
who knows? Like,
How about a
new
Seinfeld
career.
episode on Girl Scout cookies?
oh,
I bet ChatGPT could help us there.
write a sign. All right. So listen, you can go if you're on the video or if you're on the audio.
Yeah.
You can go, but I'm going to put it on the YouTube channel screen right here
Yeah. There we go.
as we're talking about it.
Yeah. Let them show.
Write a
Here's
Seinfeld
the.
episode about girls.
He's showing how the sausage made right here
cookies.
on ChatGPT.
Is there anything we want to like? What about? Is there something about cookies that?
Write a Seinfeld episode about Girl Scout cookies.
Oh,
Um,
where Kramer teaches Girl Scouts how to sell
There you go.
more
Perfect.
cookies.
Yep.
Do we want Kramer teaching or do we want George teaching?
No, I think Kramer.
Yeah, I think
Kramer all day.
he's always looking for those side gigs.
Kramer's an entrepreneur.
All right, so here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Scene 1, Jerry's apartment. So I'm doing this for our audio listeners only. Jerry and George are discussing the merits of various Girl Scout cookies. Like, I could totally see that as a debate going on in Jerry's apartment. I'm telling you, the Thin Mints are the backbone of the entire operation. Without them, it's just oatmeal and coconut. George says, no way. It's all about the Samoas. Chocolate, caramel, coconut. It's a dessert island on the cookie. Elaine enters, frustrated. You guys won't believe this. My nephew's selling Girl Scout cookies. My whole family is roped into buying like 100 boxes. That's a lot of desert islands. Kramer burst in, holding a box of Girl Scout cookies. You guys are amateurs. The real money's in the strategy, not the cookie. Anyway, goes on. Kramer's like in Monk's Cafe. Kramer's like, it's all about creating demand, Jerry. People lining up for the miles just to get the taste of the impossible. Sounds like a lot of work for a cookie. Kramer's now become a consultant for the local Girl Scout troop. He's teaching them his unconventional sales tactics. Kramer to the scouts. Remember, it's not just the cookie, it's an experience. Now let's get out there and shake up the cookie cosmos. The scouts, full of enthusiasm, start implementing Kramer's ideas, like pretending certain flavors are sold out to drive up demand and creating a buzz about non-existent super cookie. Back in Jerry's apartment, the gang watches as news spreads of the Girl Scouts' record-breaking sales. Kramer is hailed as a cookie mogul. George, I can't believe this. Kramer's cookie kingpin now? Yeah, until people realize there's no such thing as chocolate chip eclipse. This is perfect, man. Like, I could see this whole
I
show.
can see that. I can see it being played out. Kramer,
Yeah.
I've created a monster.
What to do, Jerry? They want cookies. I haven't even made up yet. So anyway, you can have fun with
cool.
AI. Like,
Yeah,
you
that's
don't have
pretty cool.
to take it so seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. If you could do a school play on that, that'd be funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how a Girl Scout troop should launch their cookie campaign, is like with a school play in front of the PTA, doing a Seinfeld episode. I should be a full-time Girl Scout cookie consultant.
You should be. You should be. You and Kramer.
If I'm not here next week, you know why. All right.
Sean will be out giving sage advice to those Girl Scouts.
Absolutely. So,
all right. We'll see you guys next
time.
week. Yep. Persuasion by the Pint. See you guys next week on the show. Sean, have a great weekend, man.
Thanks. You too.
See ya.